I get it, everyone's disrespectful, but... Are you really recording? That's fucking funny.
Alright, Jake. You go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Jake Savage. My voice kind of cracked there. Like a prepubescent boy. I'm a manager at Taco Bell. You?
Okay, my name is Carlos Ruiz. I work at Taco Bell. I'm not a manager, but I do go to school. I go to school in Glendale Community College in Arizona. Currently, I am majoring in biotechnology, and I'm the president of the student government. So, go to the internet, you'll find me there. Anyways.
I'm nowhere on the internet. I'm not important.
Not important yet.
I plan to be there one day.
But anyways, what were you saying, Jake? What were you saying about losing something? Just go on that.
Losing something.
Like how we don't talk to people the same.
Oh, yeah, just like people just being rude for no reason. It seems to just be like happening all the time now. You know, I feel like as I get older, I'm only 18, but I'm like, the more I start to see it, the more I realize like how fucking cruel people are. And this like, not to bring up politics and shit like that, but I'm like, this election showed me that more than ever.
Yeah.
Just people just fucking being just vicious towards each other. I remember seeing on fucking Twitter, like, I think one of our coworkers retweeted it, and I was like, I'm ashamed of you. Like, this is awful. And it was like this kid wearing a Make America Great Again fucking Trump hat.
Yeah.
And I guess he got, like, the shit beaten out of him. Like, he was just a little kid,
Really?
too, and just fucking got the shit beaten out of him at school for it.
Yeah.
And, like, somebody retweeted that post or whatever and was like, kid's old enough to make political statements, kid's old enough to get his ass beat. And I'm like, you're a fucking moron. Like, really? Like, do you really think the kid knows what the fuck any of this means that's going on? Like, I feel like that's stupid bullshit. Like,
It's probably his parents had just wanted
exactly. Like, you see a fucking baby wearing a I support fucking Trump shirt, you're gonna fucking cut that baby's head off? No.
Yeah, a lot of the kids are just usually whatever stuff they say. It's probably most likely because their parents are saying it. I know that's how I was when I was younger.
Yeah. I know that's exactly how I was when I was younger. It was like
My
dad said something, yeah. And I was like, all right, well, what he said is law.
Yep.
You know, he knows everything. You know, I'm still like that to a degree, but... Because my dad is pretty smart, but there are certain things where I'm just like, that's kind of the old way of thinking.
Yeah, my dad still has some older ways of thinking that he needs... I don't want to say he needs to leave those, but, you know, that's just how
Just
it is.
the world needs to leave those behind with that generation. We need to move forward from certain old points of view. Like, my dad, like, kind of supports gay marriage, but not in a way where I feel like he just accepts it, but he doesn't really support it.
Like it's there.
Yeah. I don't think he's really against, like, gays or anything like that, but he's just kind of like, the fuck's the point? Which I guess I understand to a degree. It's like, is, you know, gay marriage really a necessity kind of thing, you know, when there are other issues we could be talking about, but my dad's just like, alright, well, now you all get to experience divorce like the rest of us do, so.
Yeah, actually, I remember there's this person that I knew back in high school, and she... I would say after high school, I always followed her. I was friends with her on Facebook and Instagram, and she kind of ended up turning lesbian. And there's a girl that she met. I don't know. I didn't know her, but I knew the girl that I'm talking about for a while. But she met this other girl, and then a year or two later, they ended up getting married. And then I would say that marriage probably lasts for like 3 months.
Oh, shit.
They got divorced. I just see out of nowhere her Facebook and her Instagram kind of refreshed. Like she has she deleted her profile, made another one, said single. I was like, God damn. And I kind of feel like they were made by, I don't know, this sounds kind of weird, but they were made by the mainstream media. Like the stuff that they would post and the stuff that they would do, it was kind of like stuff that you would see other people do. And I was like, damn, they're not really. I feel like their whole entire relationship was kind of fake.
Yeah, just
Like
based on what they felt like the world needed, Well, I'm going to be gay just to show my support to this whole thing. I'm like, I'm not going to be gay, but I'm like, I'll be supportive. If you want to be gay, be gay. I'm like, be whatever the fuck you want to be. As long as you're not, killing anybody or doing anything illegal, for the most part, I guess.
Yeah, I think you're trying to get the words as long as you're not infringing anyone else's rights.
Like, as long as you're not interfering in a negative way in my life or other people's, I'm fine with whatever the fuck you want to do.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny that they got married. Like, I just knew the whole thing was kind of weird. I was like, there's like everything that they would post and do together. It was like all for show.
Mm-hmm. That's the one thing I was just gonna say too. I don't like when someone's gay or lesbian or transgender or whatever, and they're just so in your face with it. Like, there's a guy, I'm like, if he talks that way, all right, maybe he just talks that way.
They're fabulous,
whatever.
Man.
Fabulous, whatever. I'm fucking fabulous. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but but it's like, guy's gay, and then he's wearing fucking booty shorts and a fucking crop top, makeup, fucking glam, shit like that, and I'm like, and then like you look at them kind of funny. It's like, why are you doing that? Like, and then then you're the asshole. But I'm like, no, I'm sorry, but I'm just like, I don't understand that. I'm like, if that's, I don't know, I'm probably being a dick, and I'm probably gonna offend. If, the one person that might hear this,
I mean,
it's probably you later.
The thing about today is, it's okay to offend people, but it doesn't mean like just because you offend people doesn't mean you're a really bad person.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things about today's day and age that you got to be politically correct about a lot of things.
Fucking everything.
This guy named Nika Higa on YouTube just made a video today about political correctness. It said how to be politically correct, and it was pretty funny because I thought that he was making fun of a lot of these newspaper ads and just stuff that people get mad over. But man, I forgot what I was gonna say before that. But being politically correct, man, I think that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
You gotta use
the
right word.
Watch everything you fucking say. You gotta be like walking on eggshells to make sure you don't offend anybody.
But even then, just because you offend someone, you have an opinion, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. That just means you have different views.
In this day and age, almost, it's like if you don't have the same view or opinion as someone, you're just an asshole and you're a horrible person, and they just they hate you. That again brings back to point one, just then there's just such disrespect, and everyone's just vile towards each other, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, we can have different opinions. Like, that's what makes people unique. If everyone thought the same, how fucking boring would that be? I'm like, and I get it. Everyone's a hypocrite, because I've even been there where I'm like, you're a fucking asshole. Like, I mean, there are certain circumstances where it's like, okay, your opinion is different from mine, but like literally that makes you a horrible person.
Yeah.
Like, there's always circumstances where it's like, okay, yeah, for this certain thing, it is bad, but I feel like for the most part, I'm like, I kind of try to see every situation from both viewpoints or all the viewpoints. Try to understand it at least. Even if I don't agree with it, I want to be able to understand it. But I remember this one kid, his name was Anthony, and he was actually transgender, so he wanted to become a woman, and he was in my PE class freshman year. He was actually or I guess I should say she now, because I think she's now transitioned, so she's Allison now. And she was actually a really, really cool person. Like, I talked to her all the time. And then there's a difference between that. Because she was kind of in your face about it a little bit, but not like overboard. And then there's a difference between that and then this other girl who was in my art or ceramics class. And her name was Hannah. I fucking remember. Oh my god. And she was pansexual, I think is what she said.
I don't know.
Which if I'm correct, and I'm probably not, but I'm pretty sure that's like, I don't care really what you are, like I'm into you, kind of, you know. I don't care if you're, you know, man, female, you know, female transition to a man or vice versa, any of that shit, you know. And like she had a boyfriend who like lived in Texas that she met like online or some shit like that, and it was she bothered me because she was so in your face about shit.
Yeah.
Like, and it was again one of those things where it's like if you didn't agree with her, like you were an asshole. And it pissed me off. But it was kind of like, I'll kind of be the instigator sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like, no, I'm like, I just have a different opinion than you. And I kind of like push her buttons because it was almost amusing to like see her just go off. And I'm like, you're being so irrational. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
But I remember hanging out with her at lunch one time. And like, there's this girl like a few feet away from us. And she just looks at her and she's like, I want to tell that girl she's cute. I'm like, why? Like, just cuts me off in the middle of my sentence and just says that. And I'm like, why? She's like, I don't know, because she's cute and I want to tell her. I was like, no, like, don't. I'm like, there's no reason for it. She's like, why wouldn't you, you know, be like, you know, flattered if someone just came up to you and said you looked, like, cute or whatever? I was like, no, I'd be kind of weirded out. Like, why the fuck are you just walking up to me? I don't know you. And, like, you're saying that. I'm like, unless you're, like, hot damn to me, then, you know, maybe. But even then, I'm like, that's just so odd. And that might just be me too, because I'm somewhat introverted, or mostly introverted, I guess. But you know, I was like, I kept asking her, I was like, why? And she's like, oh, because I'm gay. I'm like, but you're not gay. I'm like, and this would always be an argument we'd have. It's like, and she's like, oh, I'm pretty gay. I'm like, no, you're not gay. Like, you have a boyfriend. At the very least, you're bisexual. I'm like, you said, and she'd always get mad at me. She's like, no, I'm gay. Just because I have a boyfriend doesn't mean I'm not gay. I'm like, oh my god, you fucking crazy ass extremist feminist, like, because that's what she was. I was like, no, if you have a boyfriend, you are not gay. Again, you are at the very least bisexual. And she would always say how she was pansexual. So I was like, you are pansexual. I'm like, you're not gay, you are pansexual. And she's like, well, that doesn't get, and this is when I like stopped talking to her, because she was like, well, that doesn't get as much recognition as, you know, being gay. And I was like, oh, so it's for attention then. I'm like, you're just saying that you're gay because that's more known. I'm like, and I told her this too, and I was like, then say you're pansexual when someone's like, what does that mean? You tell them. That spreads the awareness. I'm like, you're not helping yourself at all. Like, you're making yourself seem more dumb to me. I'm like, I just don't fucking get that shit.
Yeah, there's this guy in my student government. He's exactly what you just described.
Is that the guy that goes, when he sits down?
Yeah. And me and this, he'll pick up something or do something, go, eh. And me and this other guy, Robert or whatever, someone who's there, will just look at each other like, what? And kind of laugh. But man, this guy, he's really gay. Wears short shorts.
Yeah.
Crop top sometimes. He puts makeup on. And the thing about him is, he's not really he's not in your face. He's more of like, since he does, I don't know, he's really a different kind of person, because he's not going to be in your face gay, but he is really, he said it himself, he's really savage. He's really, savage. One day he told us a story that he was in class, first day of class. He told everyone, a few things about me. I'm savage. And teacher asked, oh, what do you mean by savage? The teacher just so happened to be black, and all the lights were turned off. So he told the teacher, well, like, I can't see you right now. And then everyone was just like,
that's pretty damn savage.
And then he was like, and then I got away with it because I was gay. And I mean, if I was straight or something, I'd probably get a little looked down on, but since I was gay, it's kind of okay. And he kind of knows that. He knows he can get away with certain things because he's gay, but man, like I said, he'll point out stuff that kind of everyone sees but doesn't want to say. Like I said, my girlfriend kind of leaves.
So just unfiltered, basically.
Yeah, he's pretty unfiltered. So is this other guy, but he's unfiltered, and it's more of okay for him to say it because he's gay. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. I'm like him a little bit, but I'm not gay.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be unfiltered, but I won't be unfiltered all the way.
Mhm.
Like, I know when the right time is to say something, when it's
Well,
not.
yeah, I can't really be as unfiltered as you, even, because I'm a white male, and it's just not okay for me, you know? White privilege, you know? Bullshit.
But yeah, everyone's got certain things they can and can't say, can and can't do, but
My thing is, I've got a very strong ass filter. Like, you can make coffee through me. Like, I won't fucking let that shit work. I'm like, mm-mm. Just because I think it just goes back to my upbringing as far as, like, I don't know if I should bring this up for a podcast, but I don't know. Like my mother situation,
it's all up to you.
I don't know. She was just a fucking, I don't know. Her being who she was, I was like, it felt like whatever I said didn't matter because the end result would always remain the same, so I just wouldn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was very much a strict kind of parent, especially around the 7th grade, because before he was kind of like that relationship where, like, you know, dad's like the son's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got to that point where he went back to college and he did some growing up himself and was like, I'm not raising my son right. So he did a complete 180. So it was like 7th grade was like the worst year. And I like hated my dad because he was a huge just asshole and just super strict.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure some of that was me too because I just wasn't used to him being so strict. But, so I think that kind of made me more introverted too. He was also his experience. I feel like upbringing can very much affect how outgoing you are.
Oh, yeah.
Because just with his family background, you know, one of his brothers being a criminal and druggy, fucking stealing his guitar and like my grandmother's jewelry for meth and shit like that, you know, he's very much cautious as far as, you know, who he lets in his house.
Yeah.
So, like, I've even had this friend for, like, since 1st grade. And my stepmom kind of yelled at my dad for this because he was, like, sitting outside for me for, like, 10 minutes while I, like, got all my shit together. And he was like, why didn't you let your friend Levi in? And I was like, I didn't think I was allowed to. And she goes, like, see what you did?
Mm-hmm.
And she just starts yelling at him. And he's like, what? Or whatever. So I was like, I don't think he really meant to, but he wants to make sure his shit's protected.
Yeah.
I had a point to this story. I don't know what it was.
Oh.
I think like my filter. Just
Yeah.
like I never talked back, or I would never talk back, just because I was like, it's never going to get me anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of the reason why now I'm just kind of, my confidence isn't too high. There are other factors, of course, but that's probably one of them where I never talked back because I didn't think it would make a difference. And now looking back, it probably would have a little bit. As far as like just me developing into like more of a stronger person.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just kind of a thing where I was like, if I talk back, like, all it's going to do is just fuck me more. So might as well just be quiet and just deal with what I've got.
Yeah, when I was growing up, it was pretty good. I had if anything, I know that I was pretty fortunate and pretty lucky for the fact that my parents, first of all, they had me pretty young at 16, both of them, and that they stayed together, and they still are right now. But also
cool.
the fact that my mom and dad weren't super strict. They were a little bit strict, but with growing up, raising kids, I mean, I don't have a kid myself, but from all the stuff that I know, you got to have a pretty good balance of, you know, you can't let them do everything you want. You can't give them everything that they want.
Because they're spoiled.
Yeah, and then you can't just like give them nothing or anything, or else you got to have a good moderation of, just have to have a good balance of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that they did do that. They did a really good balance on that. And when I first meet people or whatever, I guess people would think or feel that I'm an introvert, and I probably am, but it's not because of, I had a really bad childhood or anything. I mean, everyone's been through things. I've been through a few things.
Yeah.
You're going through a lot more things than I am right now.
Yeah. But I don't think, like, for me, like, I don't think I necessarily had a bad childhood. There was just a few chapters and then a kind of long couple of chapters in a row that were a little rough, but I'd say all in all it was good. It's just like, yeah, I don't think I know my mother didn't. I know my mother did not have a good balance as far as, giving your children, stuff that they want. Like my mother, especially after my parents separated, I don't even remember how old I was. But I know I was fairly young, but it was always a competition. So it was like Christmas presents, it would always be like, all right, Mom, can I take a nap? Because I'm tired of opening shit. Like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
So, like, she would always go overboard. But those Christmases never really meant anything to me. Christmas is always over with my dad, or my dad and my stepmom always meant more, because it wasn't about the gifts. It was about, seeing, especially like this year was really fun, because it was like seeing the reaction of them when they open up your gift that you gave them and shit like that. And when you do open something, it's like, oh my God, okay, they listened, they knew I needed this kind of thing. So I figured that was always really nice. But on the other hand, my dad didn't really have the best balance, but his upbringing wasn't really the greatest either. So I think he wanted me to be, sorry, it's like 3 a.m. I think he wanted to make sure I was responsible. So it was like, at a certain point, he was just kind of like, you get nothing. In a way, like not completely, but like, he doesn't really, like I've offered to buy his car, because he always talks about how he fucking hates his car, and it's old or whatever, and I'm like, I just need a car. Like, I don't care if it doesn't, if the convertible part doesn't go back anymore. Like, I don't care. I need something that works, and this works.
Yeah.
So I'm like, the little things that bother you probably won't bother me as much for a while. So, but he won't sell it to me, because he's like, I don't want to mix, the family and business thing. He's like, I feel like I won't be teaching you responsibility. And I'm like, how is that not teaching me responsibility? I'm like, I'm paying you for the car. And, he's like, I feel like you won't be as responsible with it while driving, because it's a sports car. I don't want you to have a sports car, at least if I can help it, I'm like, you realize who you're talking to, right? Because I got a little attitude, like, not to him, because again, I was just like, there's no point in me arguing with it. But I was like, I think I talked to my sister about it. I was like, does he know who he was talking to? Like, I'm the same Jake, right? Like, I'm like, I don't take risks. I'm like, the biggest risk I've ever taken in my life, well, before I worked at Taco Bell, met Chris and his things. But the biggest risk I ever took was going back into Mission Beach in San Diego after the day before getting stung by a jellyfish.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the biggest risk I've ever taken. I'm like, or riding my bike after the first day I had it, the tire blew out, and the next day getting a new tube and riding my bike, and trusting it, I'm like, I don't take risks.
Yeah.
If anything, I really try to avoid them.
Well, I don't know. Just like I said, there was good balance of everything. My dad knows that working here at Taco Bell and going to school, there's no way I'd be able to support myself. He knows. He has a pretty good figure of how much I make. And I don't know, I remember telling him about that, and he's like, oh yeah, I know. Because I was thinking about it one day, like, stuff that I would have to pay for my school, which is already paid for because of the winter that I worked. And then, car insurance, and then rent, water, all this other stuff. There's like no way I'd be able to pay for that. And if I was able to, it would have to be somehow with my girlfriend, and then all our money would go into that. And I don't know, it didn't seem possible that I'd be able to do that. And the way that I hear other people go, and how some parents just
give them
everything. Give them everything, or I know some people how they literally start them off with nothing. There's this one person who's also in our group, student government. She was, I think she still is, but she's homeless right now because her mom moved to Texas, and she didn't want to go to Texas with her. She basically wanted to finish her college here. So, and I think that was since the beginning of the semester. So I know she has a car, but I know she's sleeping in it sometimes. She tries to find a house to go sleep in. But, man, I just think about her situation, and I was going to offer her one time if she wanted to, like, sleep at my house. I even told my dad and my parents about it. And it hasn't came to that yet. She seems like she's doing all right now.
Mm-hmm.
She has a job at the school, but it's not really paying enough because she's doing work study and you can only do 20 hours a week. But, man, it was just crazy how one semester she's all fine, and this next semester her mom's just being
crazy.
Yeah, her mom's just not working with her.
Mm-hmm.
She was gonna live in the house that her mom was moving out of,
Mm-hmm.
but she can't afford the rent. It was like by herself, it was gonna be like $900.
Holy shit!
And she doesn't make that money, so she's trying to find a roommate for like a good
I don't even
semester. Yeah, she's trying to find a roommate for a good semester. No one was able to come through, and her mom didn't want to help her out with the rent for a while. So she straight up she even took the refrigerator, all the stuff all the utilities that were in the house,
Mm-hmm.
and left her a couch, but said she had to buy the couch.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, and then now I don't know how her relationship with her mom is now, but I'm pretty sure it's not real well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the real person who's helping her out a lot right now is actually another person who's in our student government. They started going out before her mom left, so he's helping her out a lot. I know that.
See, that's like my thing. I'm like, I get at a certain point you can't always support your children, but you're always supposed to help. I feel like you're always supposed to be there as support if they need you, and I feel like that's a situation where you're needed, you know.
Yeah, they're needed. I remember she saying that her mom wanted kind of Andrea, I just gave her name away, but kind of wanted
it's alright, I've name dropped a few people. So.
Wanted her to kind of have like a hard upbringing. And I was like, there's really no point if you're able to help your daughter or son.
At that point, all it does is just damage your relationship with your child.
Like I said, I know she doesn't like her mom right now at all, and I don't know if she's probably not talking or spoken to her mom ever since they moved out. And
man, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I was like,
it's one thing if you can't afford to help your child, you know, but if you can and you're choosing not to because you want your child to have a rough upbringing, I think that's a little fucked up.
Yeah, I remember she said that her mom started off like that, and she wanted to do that to her daughter, and I was like, why would you want to do that? Wouldn't you want your daughter or son to have
better for your kids?
Yeah, a better start than you did, so that way it's a little easier. And
don't give them everything, but you know.
But at least you
help them, guide them, more guidance. Give them some wisdom from your past and experiences.
Yeah.
Don't just
Yeah, I think the point of being a parent at that point is just telling them all this stuff. Here's all the tools, and then I can only do so much. You're gonna have to start doing it yourself. I can help you. If you need help every now and then. But at a certain time, you need to start doing this on your own. But she just kind of just left her with nothing.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that's really messed up.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am with my dad and stepmom right now. They're pretty understandable. I don't think they really get how much I make. I don't think they fully really understand like my paycheck, and even for how much I work, it's like, it seems like I get my paycheck. I'm like, wait, that's it? I feel like I work so much more.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's funny because before the minimum wage increase, me and my other shift leader, we were just making bank because we kept hitting all these overtime hours. And like, we were making checks of like 800, 900 every 2 weeks. And I was like, hell yeah. Like, I've got, some good money. And now it's like, we're not allowed overtime because the minimum wage increase and now our raises. So it's like, what the hell do I do? Because, I mean, I only pay, we're outside of my house right now. And I only pay $300 a month. And that's $200 really for just utilities kind of. And then another $100 for groceries, which I'm pretty much just going to say it's $300 for living there because I don't really eat their food. And there are certain things that kind of irritate me. Like the other day, my dad told me, From now on, when I make my egg burritos, because I've got this like little contraption that I crack 2 eggs in, it makes a cylindrical fried egg, and it's called an egg rollie. But it's like the easiest way to make my breakfast. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't eat breakfast and I'd be dead because of how skinny I am. But I'm like, I eat 1 meal a day, except for the 2 days that I'm off.
Yeah.
Over here. That's the only meal I eat. It's a whole wheat flour, or not whole wheat flour, a whole wheat tortilla with mozzarella cheese on it, some hot sauce, and 2 cylindrical fried eggs.
Yeah.
Or like 2 eggs, but fried as 1 cylinder thing. I roll that up and make it a burrito, and that's my breakfast in the morning, which is a pretty good breakfast, but that's the one meal I have over there every single day. And my dad's like, you need to start using the smaller tortillas because we're going through cheese and tortillas too quickly. And I'm like, is that really on me though? I'm like, that's the one meal I have. I'm like, and that really irritated me because I'm like, I'm still paying rent, and you said $100 goes towards groceries, and that's the one thing I eat. And I'm like, it really bothered me.
I think $100 on tortillas and mozzarella's and eggs
would
be enough.
I'm like, I really wanted to be like super kind of salty about it and I can't even think of the word. Be passive aggressive about it. I was really about to. I didn't because I was tired and lazy and I didn't want to go to Fry's before work. But I was about to ride my bike to Fry's, get some whole wheat tortillas, write my name on them, and get some mozzarella cheese, write my name on it, and put it in the fridge. And be like, they're dead. Now now I'm just eating your eggs and hot sauce. I'm like, I can maybe understand, oh, could you just do 1 egg instead of 2, every now and again? Be like, yeah, sure, fine, I don't care. I'll just put like a couple slices of meat on it to, fill in for the protein every now and again. I'm like, that doesn't bother me, but I'm like, really, the tortilla and the cheese? Like, my dad bought us a 5-pound bag of mozzarella cheese, splits it up into gallon Ziploc bags, and it lasts us like a couple weeks maybe, because we all use cheese for dinners and shit like that. Mainly their dinners, because I don't eat their dinners because I'm not here. But that just kind of irritated me. I'm like, I could understand if I was here more and I ate lunch and dinner here or something like that, but I'm like, I eat one thing every single day here, and that's it. Like, and 90% of the time, I really don't even eat lunch or dinner here either. I wind up going to Taco Bell anyway because I've got no freaking life.
Have you thought about ever just switching on the morning shifts so that you can have the rest of your day?
Thought about it, but I don't think I could do it.
It's just
night shifts. Just me as a person, I'm more of a night owl. I can stay up all night. I could stay up until 6 a.m. talking to you, and I'd be fine. I'd probably yawn quite a bit, but I'd be fine. But waking up at 6 a.m., I can't do that shit. I can't. Because
you just got to get that good clock in your biological clock.
I did it for 4 years for high school. I never got used to it.
Well, what time would you go to sleep?
I go to sleep around like 10 or 11 at the latest. For working, it's a little bit different because, school, it was like, you had to be there. I had to be there at 7 because school started at 7:20, and I only lived like 10 minutes away. So I was like, my, bike tube pops or something. I'm like, I can still be there in like 15, 20 minutes walking. So I was fine. But this was a little different. This one's a little different because it's like 30 to a 40-minute walk. Like maybe 15 minutes at the most bike ride. So it's not really that far still, but I got to be there earlier. I got to be there at 6 in the morning. And so I got to wake up at the latest 5, which is usually what I do. I usually just shower and everything the night before because I want to sleep in. But it's the hardest because I don't like going to bed early, first of all. But I try to go to bed at like 8 or 9 so I can get like enough sleep. But I'm still just exhausted. It doesn't matter how much sleep I get. I'm always exhausted every time I wake up early in the morning.
You probably need to find a good number.
But when I...
Sleeping too much will make you feel tired.
Yeah.
9 hours, man. I remember slept for like 9 hours one day, and
I felt
was like,
horrible. I
man.
felt worse than if I got 2 hours.
Yeah.
One time. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is
like,
awful.
Man, I put it on Twitter. I was like, I just slept for 9 hours, and I'm still tired. I probably need to go sleep again.
I usually do that when it's.
My dad replied.
I used to do that. Like I would sometimes sleep for 10 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd wake up and I'd be like, "Oh God, that was a mistake. Should have just gotten up early." And do you ever like get up early sometimes, like before you're supposed to wake up, and feel like super refreshed and energized, and be like, "I'll just go back to bed for like another 15, 20 minutes," and then you wake up the second time, you're like, "Oh fuck."
Nah, usually if I wake up like 10 or 15 minutes before my alarm goes on, I'm like, ah, shit. Then I try to get to sleep in. I'm like, man, why did I have to wake up 15 minutes or 10 minutes before my alarm?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I usually do that too, but like, I mean, sometimes I'll wake up a couple, like an hour before I have to wake up, and I feel fine, I'm like, I should probably get up, like maybe I'll go up and like go to the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
But then I'll be like, well, I don't really have to get up. I'm like, there's really nothing I can do, so I'm like, all right, I'll just go back to bed for another hour and wake up, and then when I wake up, when my alarm goes off, I'm like, oh shit. Now I don't want to get up.
That doesn't happen to me. I think if that happens to you, I think you should just stay up and then figure out something.
Yeah. But every time I still do it. To this day, I never learn. I'm just like, I'll just lay back down. It's been hard for me to get up today. My dad yelled at me today, too. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Normally, I try to get up at 12. I've been kind of pushing it lately and getting up at 1. It was 2 in the afternoon. I hear my dad, too, because I was awake. I was just laying in bed. And he's like, Jesus Christ, it's 2. Jake, get up! And I opened the door and I look and I was like, yeah. And he just like, and I kind of gave him a little bit of a stink eye because he was irritated because he was going in the attic installing our satellite. But he was just like, seriously, dude, are you going to just sitting there all day? And then my stepmom goes like, yep. And I'm like, no, I'm just tired. I'm like, it's going to be a long night tonight.
Yep.
I'm like, it's Saturday night. I want to get my rest before this shift. I'm like, I got a text at, 2 hours before 2 hours after I actually fell asleep, saying, hey, can you come in early? It's like, no, I went to bed 2 hours ago. Why are you texting me now? I'm like, you're damn lucky I was, like, out like a light. Because if that would have woke me up, I would have been pissed. I'd have been like, no, I'm not showing up at all now.
Yeah, my hardest days to wake up are when I have lab on Thursdays, and with biology classes, labs come, so you either take it before or after class. And this lab starts at 8:30 in the morning, so it means I have to wake up at 7, and at least leave by 7:30, 7:40, so that way I can get at school by around 8:15. So all around, it gives me enough time to eat on something, get me ready. I don't take a long time to get ready, probably 15 minutes.
Yeah, I don't either.
But
that's usually if I do shit sloppily.
Yeah.
Like, don't make my bed, shower really quickly, eat something, go. Take that morning shit. If you have time.
That lab, man, oh my god, it lasts so long. Labs in biology or chemistry, they last for like 2.5, 3 hours. So I start at 8:30 exactly, and then the lab will end around 11:20. And then,
fuck, man.
And then 5-10 minutes after, I got class, same class by 182. So after I finish lab at 11:20, go to class at 11:30, finish at 12:40. And then,
oh god,
I wait. This is before I drop my math class, but there's a good reason for it. But then I'd wait all the way until 4:40 in the afternoon, until 7 o'clock.
Jesus Christ.
But I dropped that math class.
Yeah.
I dropped that class, specifically math, not because I'm not good at math. Actually, I think math is pretty good.
Well,
but
it's
because that teacher
sucks
sucks so much. Oh my god.
Is one of those teachers that's like,
oh my,
you need to learn yourself kind of thing? Or what kind of teacher is it?
This guy, I've never had a teacher like this right here. And I've never dropped a class. And this class was just terrible. I remember the first day, this guy was such a monotone voice. He didn't have no engagement with the class at all.
That's the worst.
I almost fell asleep the first day in his damn class. Second day,
that's the environmental science teacher I had in high school. It was first period, which was the worst. I'm like, really? And she was such a hippie too. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, no wonder she has like 4 kids. She's probably telling her husband like, oh, we can't wear condoms because it'll increase our, environmental footprint or carbon footprint, whatever the fuck it's called. Oh, she was such a hippie too. She would always be like, here's pros and cons of this certain thing. It's like, I wonder where she leans because there's 3 pros and like 50 cons. I'm like, okay, I wonder where, like, I'm sure there's more pros than that, but all right. But oh my God, yeah, she would just talk in such a monotone voice sometimes. And I'm like, just sitting there. That's the worst too, when you're sitting there and you're just trying so hard to stay awake and you're almost crying because you're frustrated. You're just like, come on, just stay up. And you look at the clock and you're like, it's moved like 10 seconds. Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, but this guy, he second day, I'm in class. I'm like, all right, I didn't fall asleep the second day because I was like, all right, I'm not gonna fall asleep. I gotta pay attention. I gotta pay attention to this stuff because I know we're gonna have a test next week. And I was like, all right, I should be able to tough it out. Next week, come Tuesday, I'm really thinking that's when we have our review for our test. And then I look at this review, I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, I look at this shit, and he's all saying...
I've never seen this before in my life.
I mean, I've seen it before, but he just never taught it. I look at my notes.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
My minimum notes that he...
Oh, dude, I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's like, oh, well, you guys should know how to do this from the homework. What he said, I remember this. He said, when you go do the homework, it's going to get harder, but you'll figure it out. So he's not going to give us examples of how to do it, how
you'll just figure it out on your own.
Yeah, he says, yeah, you guys will figure it out. I'm like, oh my God. And I remember taking my Math 120 teacher. She was really good. I like the way she said. She was really engaged with the class. Everything she did, like, she was really cool. And she had a pretty big butt. But
that's always nice.
But like I said, she was really engaged. She knew how to teach it. She just was really good at teaching. I liked her. I wish I would have taken her for 150. But, I mean, if she was in 150, I would have taken her, but she's not. So, I don't know why I took this guy. I looked at this website called Rate My Professor. Really good website. You should really use it if you plan on going anytime soon, Jake. But
I felt like some judgment in that comment. Anytime soon, Jake.
But
you slow bastard.
But when you go on this site, you search up the teacher's name, what math class or what class specifically, and people have reviews on how they taught.
Really?
So yeah, I've used it all the time.
Awesome. Rate My Teacher.
Rate My Professor.
Or Rate My Professor.
So cool. I went on it and I thought I saw a few good reviews, but then I double checked it the day before I was going to drop his class. Specifically, I looked for the class that I'm in. It was awful. Sucked. I was like, oh my fucking God. I was so mad that this is the first class I had to drop because just the material that he was going to test us on was stuff that he, in a way, yes, we got to know how to do some of this stuff on our own. But the fact that he told us that we'll figure it out, and I just never seen a teacher do that. That you have this basic concept, and you're gonna build it kind of by yourself. I've done that a few times in different classes, but with math classes, it's kind of like
math class is kind of difficult for that.
Yeah, you gotta show us this basic concept, and then show us these special circumstances that we have to do a certain thing in.
You can't really just figure something out like that.
Yeah, he just showed us these basic concepts in his barely 5 or 6 freaking slides of PowerPoints that's supposed to be for the whole entire chapter. And then we gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
And in the class, we don't have time to ask him anything because the whole time he's just talking. And then, I don't know, I was just like, there's no way I'm staying in this damn class anymore. And
that was the worst thing about high school too.
Yeah.
It's like you can't drop a class. Well, I guess you kind of can, but
you can switch out of class.
Yeah.
But it has to be like.
But I know exactly what you're talking about too, because I had a senior year my econ teacher. Oh, she was the worst. I'm gonna name drop her ass too, because she pissed me off. Yeah, Miss Turner. Totally remember her. And like, this is totally going to go against my whole respect thing that I had at the beginning of this, but I'm like, when a teacher pisses me off royally to a point where, like, I'm just, like, frustrated with their existence, like I don't want her to die. I'm not like that, but I'm like, why do you do the things that you do? Like, why are you a teacher? Because you're awful at it. And so I'm like, then when I hate someone to their core, I insult the shit out of them. So she looked like a dried out fish with blonde hair and glasses, like, and that got bleached. Like, she was just an old white blonde hair, just, oh God, she was horrible. And yeah, she was very monotonous. Her voice would always crack too. And it was like, just, like, it wasn't funny even. It was just kind of sad. Like, it was just kind of like, oh my God. And like, kind of this gross.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, no. Like, why are you doing that? And, yeah, so she was my econ teacher, and literally, like, she would be teaching PowerPoints, and she would just do it the worst way possible, because it was like, it was that way where it was like, you know, you're trying to write it down so fast that you're not even paying attention to what the words are and what it means. You're just trying to get it down so you have the notes. And she's talking about it as you're either typing or writing it down on a notebook. And then you're done, and she's just walking back and forth waiting for everyone to finish writing it. And I'm like, wouldn't it make more sense to be like, all right, I'm going to talk about this for a second. Then once I'm done talking about it, write stuff down. That way, like, we can be engaged and, you know, listen to what you're saying and try to understand it, and then write down the notes, then realizing what they mean and knowing that, and that'll click in our brains a little bit better. And to make matters worse, it was like these boring ass PowerPoints. It was just white background, black letters. Just, that's it. That's all it was. Damn. And I'm like, how do I remember any of this shit? And then, yeah, we would get our study guide for a test. And I'm like, and all of my friends, we were just kind of like, I'm looking through my notes, and I've written everything down. Like, I know I have. I'm like, this is not on here. Like, I have not learned this at all. And we'd be Googling, like, answers for our study guide. And then we could use our study guide on the test, but that didn't matter because the study guide answered, like, 3 of the questions. And the rest of it is, like, I don't know. Like, I barely passed that class with, like, a relatively high C, because I was like, and a lot of the kids did, because it was just like, even really smart students were just like, you never taught us this shit. Like, we don't know what this test is about. Like, it was just bizarre.
Yeah, there's things that teachers have.
Or teachers that make you feel stupid for asking questions. Like, my Algebra 2 teacher did that shit, and I never asked her a question the rest of the semester, because I was like, fine, screw you. Like, asked her, I was like, how do you do this again? She's like, what, you didn't get it from when I taught it up there? And I'm like, obviously not, otherwise I wouldn't be here. Like, and so I never asked her anything again. Or you get those teachers that, like I had this one, like, my government teacher senior year. She was so weird. Like, she so wanted to be cool, but she just wasn't. Like, and I'm going to drop her name too, Miss Hannah Michael. And she'd have this weird laugh. She'd make these awkward ass jokes about history and have this weird laugh. It was like, oh, kind of like, it was so bizarre. And I'm like, and like, all of the kids would laugh, but it's like, no, I don't think like, we're not laughing at your joke. We're laughing at your stupid ass laugh. Like, it was just the funniest thing. But like she wasn't the greatest teacher, but she was okay. But I remember my favorite teacher, he always kept us engaged, like, was our, can't remember the class, but I know it was a history class. I think it was AZ US History. And,
yeah, my teacher for that class was really cool.
Why am I just remembering the horrible teachers' names? Mr. Oh my God, it's going to bother me. I can't remember his name. McClellan. That was his name. He was so cool. Like, he would always get kids involved. Like, okay, all right, you know, Josh, you're this person in history or whatever, and like would talk about these scenarios, or he would have this story that like would pertain to himself. And I'm sure he like was just bullshitting half the stories that he was saying, and they weren't even real. Like, that happened to him. But he'd be like talking about these stories, and he's like, and he'd tie it in with things in history, and like every single person in that class is like, holy shit, that's like amazing how well that ties together. Like, that's so weird. So it was like, you would just like tie certain things together, and it would just make you remember it. Like, I remember doing, I can't like give this specific historic event, but I'm like, I remember doing tests and being like, what did so and so do during this battle or whatever. I just remember the like story they gave us. Oh, he did this because I remember like he did this stupid thing at the grocery store or whatever, and that tied into when he did this in battle kind of thing. And that was just like, that was my favorite class I ever took, other than art. Mm-hmm. Oh no, okay. Worst teacher I ever had. I thought my French 1 teacher was bad because he called me a queer.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. And I was like, oh, thanks. Nice confidence boost there.
My worst teacher was probably another math teacher from high school. My Algebra 1A, I barely passed him with a C, and then I took him again.